Thank you, Turkey. Thank you. Come and hold it with me, Ali. It's getting heavy. Okay.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Shall I take it back?
Please, yes.
Thank you.
Ali Sabanci is truly a global leader, and we're so honored that he has been our host, but he's also been the great negotiator in bringing together a lot of entities and individuals and resources and commitment to this event. And Ali, I know that we also thank, of course, Tob and Tim and Habitat and Sabanci and Coach. I mean, really wonderful support that we've had here from all the partners. And I think what's important to tell you is that we are very, very excited about this journey having begun here in Turkey. And we very much look forward, Ali and I both, to some great outcomes and outputs from this that we hope will help not just the global entrepreneurial ecosystem, but also will be in the interest of Turkey. And so stay tuned. We are talking. We've got ideas and visions. But to everybody from Turkey, I want to say this is the beginning of our journey together. It's the next chapter we have. We've had 10 years together already, and it's time for us to start our next chapter. So, Ali, thank you so much indeed. So on behalf of all of the international community, you know, I also want to thank the international community for all of your energy, your insights, and indeed, frankly, your love. This community has built so much trust, so much care for each other, so much generosity. It's not just talent, it's talent and trust that has really made this community so influential and powerful. And I am just so honored to be one curator helping in the process of enabling you to do more, bigger and better things together. I want to thank some of the people that are really getting behind us. I mean, Elizabeth, we are so proud of our partnership with Alice. And I hope you all got to see the great new AI technology for entrepreneurs, especially for women entrepreneurs. And we just think that your leadership and role around the world has just been phenomenal. Having partners like you has been phenomenal. And I also want to thank Stefan and Gary and all the new team around Gen Space. We're going to go to Mars together. We're going to go to Mars in the sense of we're going to find whole new industries in the new space industry. We're so proud of Gen Space was rolled out at this conference. And Ali, when we're going to be coming to you because we're going to have ideas for new companies for you. So you'll be the first person, you'll have first refusal. Is that all right, Stefan? All right, okay. And of course, Candace, thank you so much. I know that you've been the original space entrepreneur, so you're going to bring wisdom to this young whippersnapper here who's trying to lead us into space. It's so funny, actually, and I want to thank all the national delegations. You know, we gave we saw lots of wonderful accomplishments, and it's wonderful to come together. And one of the things, Didem was just tremendous at really helping us with all of the Turkey team in putting on a lovely dinner on Monday night. And with Sabanci, it was just fantastic because you have to understand that for us, there's a very rare array of opportunities for us all to recognize and say thank you to people who work tirelessly to achieve the kind of results that we hope that they can achieve. So thank you again, Didem, for all of your work over these 9 months. But as you know, all good things have to come to an end. And so soon we will be moving in to celebrate the conclusion of our official program. I do want to remind all of the GEN delegates that we have multiple work meetings arranged for you tomorrow. Transportation will be provided at 9 o'clock in the morning. And if you have any questions, please see anybody on the GEN team staff. However, tonight is our night to celebrate what Turkey gave us, to celebrate each other, but also tonight of the night is we're going to get to celebrate where we're going next year. In my opening remarks on Monday, which not all of you saw, we had many of us there, I tried to talk about what we've accomplished as a community in 10 years and what we can accomplish as a community in the next 10 years. And just as we're at this intersection of East and West, we're at a very important intersection of Gen being 10. And so I hope that as we celebrate the past of this week, we're also going to celebrate the future. And there are many ways we'll do this. We're going to celebrate both with a closing party at Bamontiada, which is walking distance across the street. And we're also going to have an entrepreneurship learning reception on the 34th floor. And of course, we're going to have a women's ecosystem leaders celebration on the 34th floor. And we're also going to have another celebration in the Compass Room for Ulukaya initiative here, hosted by here in Turkey. So there's going to be wonderful celebrations this evening. But there is also going to be a celebration to welcome you into this next chapter, hosted by the next country that will be hosting the Global Entrepreneurship Congress. And so without further ado, I'd like to ask you to welcome to the stage someone who actually we didn't think we were going to be able to get him here in person. He is the CEO of Tamkeen. Please welcome Ebrahim Janahi from the Kingdom of Bahrain.
I have another one. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ortman, for your excellent introduction. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I would like to start by thanking you all for joining us in this gathering, which marks an important milestone for the Kingdom of Bahrain and the Global Entrepreneurship Network, GEN. The international community's faith in our economy and future vision has allowed us to maintain a strong position as a regional hub for trade, innovation, and growth. I take this opportunity to thank GEN for awarding the Kingdom of Bahrain the honor of hosting the Global Entrepreneurship Congress in April 2019, further confirming the country's position as a business-friendly nation and an international pioneer in the field of entrepreneurship and business innovation. Tamkeen and GEN will bring together thousands of entrepreneurs, investors, researchers, policymakers, and startups from more than 170 countries to identify new ways of starting and scaling ventures around the world. The growing local ecosystem produced many success stories, positioning Bahrain as an ideal market for innovators to launch their concepts and to provide access to the wider MENA region. We are extremely delighted and look forward to receiving participants from all over the world to share knowledge, exchange views, experiences, and ideas about the future of entrepreneurship as a promising platform towards total development, and at the same time allowing us to showcase our unique experience in providing the maximum support possible primed to success. I would like to end by thanking the government of Turkey, the organizing committee, and GEN for hosting Global Entrepreneurship Congress 2018, and to invite you to join us at the Bahrain Reception, which will take place right after the panel session at 6 p.m. Thank you all, and looking forward to seeing you all next year in Bahrain.
Business friendly is not just a slogan. It's actually an aspiration that we challenge ourselves to live up to every single day.
You can find people from all over the world. It's a very open-minded country in the sense that everyone coexists very peacefully and amazingly here. It's just a really beautiful place to be.
I think what makes us unique is that if you arrive into Bahrain, you are likely to be driven in your taxi by a Bahraini, to be checked into your hotel by a Bahraini. You'll have an interaction with the people of the country.
We have a very high level of education in Bahrain. This has created a tech-savvy population that are always demanding for the latest technology.
Any young Bahraini woman who is looking to draw inspiration can just look all around her. There are women on boards, women who run family businesses, who are ambassadors, ministers.
We don't believe in zones for our businesses. We don't create a separate zone where that business can have certain privileges and ownership rights. We consider our whole country a zone.
Geographical position belonging to the GCC are very strong advantages.
In the late 60s, we took on upon ourselves to diversify from oil, so we started our diversification program more than 40 years ago, and today we continue to do that.
Bahrain is very focused on developing a pipeline of infrastructure investment.
In total, we have about $32 billion worth of investments. We'll see projects materialize within the next 3 to 4 years.
It's part of a longer strategy, and certainly it will provide work. It will provide also opportunities for foreign companies to work downstream, to be part of construction.
We expect to have a large multiplier effect of the money being spent on these projects to filter through the economy.
You only have to ask the investors that have been established here how much they've grown, how much they've enjoyed their presence here, and how lucrative it has been for them.
The one thing that I would choose above anything else in Bahrain is the people. They're my family.
What you will remember in any visit is the people you've met, the impressions they left you with. And I think you'll find in Bahrain that friendly, approachable population that you'll make friends with, you'll remember, and they'll stick in your mind.
We would like to now invite our esteemed panelists on stage. Dr. Sheikh Abdulla bin Ahmed Al-Khalifa, Undersecretary for International Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Sheikh Khalid bin Humood Al-Khalifa, CEO of Bahrain Tourism and Exhibition Authority. Mr. Osama Al-Arayedh, Undersecretary for Industry Affairs at the Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Tourism. Mr. Qusay Al-Arayedh, Chief Operations Officer at Tamkeen. Finally, Dr. Simon Galpin, Managing Director of the Economic Development Board.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I would like to thank the GEN and our Turkish hosts for granting us this opportunity to talk about Bahrain's relationship with the global community. Ever since antiquity, Bahrain has been a country with a deep cultural and commercial ties to the rest of the world. Its strategic location and natural springs has made it a key trading center, engaging other civilizations culturally and economically. In the 20th century, Bahrain's relationship with the rest of the world has continued to blossom, especially in the economic domain. In 2016, Bahrain's trade with the world represented 140% of its GDP, ranking in the top 20 in the world. Our exports reaches as far as China and Japan. We have a free trade agreement with the United States of America, and our imports come from as far away as Brazil and Australia. As a small country, we understand the need to engage the globe commercially, to provide a high standard of living for our citizens. As a country with a historic place in the global community, we have the culture required to see trade as an opportunity for mutual gain. But it is in the openness and the progressiveness of our labor markets where Bahrain really stands out. We strongly believe in multilateralism. Bahrain is a member of the United Nations since 1971. Bahrain is a founder and an active member of the Gulf Cooperation Council. It's an active member in the Arab League, in the Non-Aligned Movement, in the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, an active partner in the Istanbul Cooperation Initiative of the NATO. Bahrain is an active member in many United Nations agencies and organizations and contribute wherever possible to the international peace and prosperity. We work with over a dozen UN agencies, both locally and regionally, and work with all of them to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The government of Bahrain signed a strategic partnership framework for the years 2018 to 2022 with 16 UN agencies. The UNIDO, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, ITPO office, the Investment and Trade Promotion Office in Bahrain, since 1996, have been central in sharing Bahrain's success model of economic empowerment and entrepreneurship to the entire world. As a global citizen, Bahrain recognizes that the world is a platform for us all to learn and engage with each other and share each other's experiences. 48 countries around the world found the Bahrain model as a model to be implemented. And today, they are implementing it. This is one of many achievements in Bahrain that we are proud of. The Kingdom of Bahrain is ranked by the United Nations Development Programme as a country with a very high human development. This came through Bahrain's achievement of the Millennium Development Goals prior to its due date and its commitment to the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals agenda. The government is committed to align the national plans, the strategic frameworks and policies with the Sustainable Development Goals. Bahrain will be presenting its first voluntary national report and the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals before the high-level political forum of the ECOSOC, the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations, next July. We will also launch a national human development report later this year in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme. Any successful entrepreneur will tell you that the key to success is openness. And this indeed is our way of life in Bahrain. But I don't want you to take my word for this. I want you to see for yourself firsthand in April 2019 in Bahrain. I thank you so very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Khalid Al-Khalifa. I'm the CEO of Tourism and Exhibitions Authority in the Kingdom of Bahrain. First of all, I would like to thank Jen for inviting us today and the government of Turkey for their kind welcomeness. Furthermore, I would like to highlight a few points about the Kingdom of Bahrain in terms of the tourism and exhibition sector. First of all, when it comes to tourism, our number one asset is the people of Bahrain. We were blessed with the kind and open-minded people of Bahrain. We're an island in the Arabian Gulf, and we have been opened to all different international countries throughout civilization. And we have two World Heritage United UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Bahrain Fort and the Pearl Route. Bahrain has a civilization of 5,000 years, and we have been, alhamdulillah, being able to sustain the development in the country while preserving our rich culture. We have a lot of good news that happened since the year 2018. We discovered the largest oil field in Bahrain's history. It has been announced almost 2 weeks ago. And now there are a lot of projects in the pipeline in the kingdom when it comes to the tourism infrastructure. For instance, we are expanding our airport on a $1.6 billion expansion, where it will hopefully be able to consume 4 times the size of passengers that we currently receive to the kingdom. As well, as we speak, there are 17 hotels under construction with almost $11 billion worth of investments. Another very important project that the Bahrain Tourism and Exhibition Authority is looking over is the new exhibition center. As you all know, the MICE sector is a very important sector, and when I say by MICE, it's meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. We will build the largest exhibition and convention center in the Arabian Gulf, and we will start groundwork by the end of the year. Hopefully by the year 2020, we will have the largest facilities for events and conferences in the region. Moreover, I was glad that yesterday I received the numbers and statistics of the tourism growth in the kingdom. So in a nutshell, I would like to say that in the past 3 years, we were able to double the GDP contribution to the economy. So the tourism sector jumped from 3.5% in the year 2014 to 6.9% in the year 2017. So today, the tourism sector is one of the fundamental components of our economy. Something that I would like to announce for the first time, actually, because these numbers are fresh and new. The total visitors that came to Bahrain in the first quarter in the year 2018 compared by the year 2017 has increased by 12%, adding up to 3.4 million visitors. The tourism nights, and when I say tourism nights, the actual nights that the tourists spent in Bahrain have rose by 20% in comparison by the first quarter of the year 2017, adding up to 4.1 million nights. The average length of stay in the first quarter of 2017 was 2.8 nights in Bahrain, and we're glad to announce today that it jumped up to 3.3 nights. The total tourism expenditure for the first quarter of the year 2017, the year 2018 had increased by 31%, adding up to $1.3 billion. So all of these indicators is a clear sign that there's growth, sustainable growth in the kingdom, and it's an excellent platform for entrepreneurs. I've met many Bahrainis and non-Bahrainis who actually came to Bahrain. There's a well-known English company now based in Bahrain. They started 7 years ago in Bahrain. They started with designing different applications in their mobile phones for events, transportation, and today that company has a turnover of $2 million to $3 million. And there are other types of innovations that can be utilized in the kingdom when it comes to tourism. As I was walking last night in Istanbul and got a chance to look at different services that are available here that can also be done in Bahrain, such as the marine services, the maritime adventure games. All of these things are things that you should look for. Inshallah, we will welcome you in the year 2019 in April, and it will be an excellent eye-opener to all the entrepreneurs to have a look at Bahrain's platform. I would like to conclude by saying that we have built a strategy that consisted of 4 A's: accessibility, attractions, accommodation, and attractions. When it comes to accessibility, we relaxed our visa procedures highly. We have 86 countries that has visa upon arrival. Turkey was the first country where we actually waived the visa fees. So any of the Turkish tourists can come to Bahrain with their visa fees waived. And for Jan, hopefully, the Bahrain Tourism Exhibition Authority will take special care of all the visa processes, so any country can apply, and we will make sure your visas are processed within a maximum of 3 days. Thank you. When it comes to accommodation, accommodation is when we looked at the hotel infrastructure. So we are looking at opportunities of investment, missing gaps in the market. I can assure you that we need 4-star hotels with beachfronts. And today, the Economic Development Board, Simon is with us here today. So the government, we will work together to provide land to investors to build 4-star beachfront hotels. These are some concepts that we can work together with. When it comes to attractions, we have long-term and short-term attractions. You can go to calendar.bh and look at all of the events and forums, exhibitions that are going in Bahrain throughout the year. So that would keep you posted till you visit us. And finally, awareness. We have launched 7 offices representing Bahrain in the UK, France, Germany, India, Russia, China, and Saudi Arabia. And hopefully now we're looking at Turkey to have an office here to represent Bahrain. We have almost 4 flights, direct flights to Bahrain on daily basis. So inshallah, we can increase the tourism between 2 countries. So I hope 5 minutes is not enough to talk about the tourism spectrum in the kingdom, but I hope I was able to give you some glimpse of what we have to offer. Thank you very much.
It's always great to be here in Istanbul, but it's privilege to address an audience like yourselves. My name is Osama Al-Arayedh. I am the Undersecretary for Industry Affairs. And what I'll be or try to deliver to you, what are we trying to do to help entrepreneurs in Bahrain to flourish their ideas. Actually, at the beginning, there are different entities in the kingdom that provide services to entrepreneurs and to small and medium enterprises. However, they were not connecting or communicating all together. So the efforts was scattered. So the first thing we've done in the Kingdom of Bahrain and to establish an SME development, if you want, board, to put all the efforts under one umbrella and to direct that efforts to maximize the benefit of it to the entrepreneurs and the small and medium enterprises. Having done that, we restructured also the directorate, which is responsible for SMEs development in the ministry, to go with whatever the trends are, and also to review all the laws and regulations that entertain this sector, if you want. So we've done a review of the laws that regulate it, and we updated them, and we are yet to review and introduce new laws for example, the bankruptcy law. We are trying to introduce something like that, which doesn't exist in Bahrain now. In addition, we streamline the process and make it easy for businesses, for ideas or entrepreneurs to start their businesses. So we introduced a new system, which is online, and we call it Sijillat, which means records in English. And with that system, in 90 seconds, an entrepreneur can establish her or his entity and then add whatever activities they would like. So it's like a birth certificate. So in 90 seconds, and that's a record. In some countries, it takes days to establish that, or even months. On top of that, we introduced a new thing or a new activity, which is called Sijilli, or My Record, which is a virtual, if you want, commercial registration for entrepreneurs who don't need to have a physical, if you want, address. So they provide their service online. So they don't need an address. And that didn't exist. And with that, we have like a number of activities, for example, consultancy services or translation services or any activity that doesn't need a physical address. Also, we introduced a new activity, which is accelerator and incubator, and to help companies that want to create, if you want, an environment or a platform for entrepreneurs to join them under one address, one umbrella. And that proved to be successful since the inception last year. We also, specifically for the industrial activities, we provide certain incentives. We provide inexpensive land to promote the industrial sector. We also provide exemption on duties on raw materials, machineries, and spare parts. And what else? The whole idea is to have all these, if you want, entities or to be part of that ecosystem for entrepreneurship. I think I covered it all. I don't know and I'll be willing to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Qusay Al-Arayedh. It's my first time in Istanbul, and definitely won't be the last. Can't miss the donors, their beautiful food. I work for an organization called Tamkeen. Tamkeen actually means enablement. And before I get into my organization, I would like to share with you a couple of facts about Bahrain. We're a small island, tiny island, population of 1.5 million. 48% of our population are immigrants, and since the discovery of oil in the 30s, our economy has changed dramatically. But we realized 10 years ago that that's not sustainable and we have to depend on different resources. And during this period, since the discovery of oil, the majority of our population depended on the government for jobs, depended on the government to be employed, depended on big corporations that were national corporations to be to be the major employers, and that's definitely not sustainable. And we had to do something about that. So innovation were not part of our vocabulary. Our population were dependent on as I mentioned earlier, on the government for employment. And in order to do so, a couple of organizations and entities were created, such as mine. And Tamkeen, as one of those organizations, its main objective is to provide funding to upskill the talent of Bahrainis into the human capital aspect of things, as well as fund startups, entrepreneurs, scale-ups, and so on. So, as part of the ecosystem, funding is a major part. And throughout the years, we've noticed a shift in terms of the number of young Bahrainis who pursue their dreams into establishing businesses and making their ideas come true. And the numbers have been encouraging. From statistics that from my organization, from our client base, about 37% of the 3,000 entities that we serve every year are young entrepreneurs who establish businesses. So these are encouraging numbers, and I believe that we are changing very fast. Our country is changing very fast, and our aim is to probably in the next 10 years as well, is to continue on that path, continue to support people with idea, whether they're Bahrainis or from anywhere in the region or international. We welcome everybody in Bahrain, and we work very hard to ensure that our economy is sustainable and not reliant on a single source such as oil. So we also work with other main players in the region, in the country, like the financial sector. We have programs that incentivize banks to spend and to invest in entrepreneurship and into startups specifically. During the past 10 years, banks have spent approximately $1 billion on startups, funding startups, and that's for a country with a GDP of 33 billion. That's I would say impressive. So we're a young player, but we believe in ourselves. We believe in our people, and hopefully, when you guys come to Bahrain next year, you'll see it firsthand. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Simon Galpin. I work for the Bahrain Economic Development Board, but I'm also a very proud member of the Startup Bahrain Initiative, which is a grouping of both the government organizations and the private sector organizations that really promote Bahrain's startup ecosystem in Bahrain and across the world. Now, as we've heard from many of the panelists here today, Bahrain is a small island economy. But sometimes small is beautiful, because small means access. You don't have to just be a big multinational, whether you're a medium-sized business or even a startup. If you come to Bahrain, you have access to decision makers, access to investors, access to customers, and most importantly, access to the largest economy in our region, Saudi Arabia, as we're connected by a causeway to the eastern province. Now, to summarize, when we try to encourage companies to come to Bahrain, to set up in Bahrain, we talk about three main opportunities. The first opportunity is that we're investing very heavily in physical infrastructure. And Sheikh Khalid has touched on some of the major projects that we have in Bahrain. These add up to $32 billion worth of projects, which is the equivalent of our annual GDP. And these projects present tremendous opportunities for small, medium, large companies from around the world to come in as suppliers, subcontractors, and other service providers for these initiatives. The second big opportunity is in our soft infrastructure. And what we're doing is we're revising our laws, we're revising our regulations to ensure that almost every business activity is open to 100% foreign ownership. To ensure that there's no minimum capital if you want to start a business in Bahrain. To revise our insolvency and bankruptcy laws so that small companies, SMEs, if they do fail, can reinvent themselves and come back bigger and better and stronger than before. And then the third area of opportunity is in the whole digital startup space. Bahrain has only recently emerged as a leading hub for startups, and particularly for fintech startups, but we're really gaining momentum. It's a very user-friendly place, a very easy place to set up, and as we've heard, Bahrain is incredibly friendly. So I'd like to encourage you all to visit Bahrain, to contact our organizations, and come and participate in the event next year. And a very warm welcome to business-friendly Bahrain, a very warm welcome to entrepreneur-friendly Bahrain, a very warm welcome to startup-friendly Bahrain. Thank you.